Welcome to yet another video on how to attract back an avoidant. I am Yankee Akiteng, also known as Toronto Love Doctor, and you can find me at askthelovedoctor.com. Do fearful avoidants regret losing you? The answer is more complex than a simple yes or no. Most fearful avoidants break up with you for the same reason the other attachment styles break up. The relationship is not working for them. But there's one reason that sets fearful avoidants apart. The one that probably makes them regret the breakup the most. Fearful avoidants, more than all the other attachment styles, have a tendency to break up because they believed that their ex was going to break up with them at some point. Something their ex said or did triggered their fear of rejection and abandonment, and they preemptively ended the relationship. This explains why some people are blindsided when a fearful avoidant breaks up with them. There were no signs, no pulling away, and it's not like they planned the breakup. A fearful avoidant kind of panicked and ended things. The breakup feels like it came from nowhere, but in reality, it came from a fearful avoidant thinking that you were unhappy and were going to break up with them at some point. When I asked some of my fearful avoidant clients why they just didn't wait for their ex to break up with them, since they believed their ex was going to break up with them anyway, some of them tell me they thought about it for a long time because of all the arguments and the complaints from their ex, but being a fearful avoidant, they went back and forth about it. Then in an instant, they decided to break up. Initiating the breakup made them feel more in control, like they want something out of the breakup since they're the ones who initiated it. Some others told me that they thought their ex was unhappy and was going to break up with them. They ended the relationship first, hoping that if they were wrong, their ex would pursue them and show that they didn't want the breakup. Sometimes they don't actively initiate the breakup. They pull away, disappear without explanation, or start dating somebody else. In a way, forcing you to break up with them. But whether you broke up with them or they broke up with you, all fearful avoidants carry some guilt and even regret when a relationship ends. Most fearful avoidants, however, don't regret the breakup itself and may even feel that the breakup needed to happen. They regret how they acted or didn't act. In other words, a fearful avoidant's regret most of the time is not straight up, I regret breaking up with you. It's more like, I wish I could turn back time. Feeling guilt and regret, and sometimes anger, goes far back into a fearful avoidant's childhood where they felt that they were somehow responsible for what was happening to them. Maybe if they were good enough, maybe if they did this better or hadn't done that, they would be loved, acknowledged, appreciated, and maybe they wouldn't be punished or abused at all. Most of them carry these insecurities and sense of guilt into their adult relationships. And when somebody breaks up with them, a fearful avoidant takes it too personally. Most of them feel angry with themselves because they let themselves down. They feel even more angry with themselves if things were going well for the first time in their adult relationships. But then their insecurities, the fears, and the distrust showed up and messed up everything. If they initiated the breakup, they may be relieved that the relationship ended, but also feel angry with their ex because their ex didn't validate them, acknowledge them, or appreciate the fact that they tried to be good enough. Some fearful avoidants focus exclusively on what they could have done differently or what their ex could have done differently, so much that they become depressed and anxious even thinking about getting back together. What if things are the same? What if I can't be the boyfriend or girlfriend my ex wants? What if we get back together and then my ex breaks up with me? Many fearful avoidants that I work with tell me that they miss the good feelings and the good memories with their ex. But more than the good memories, it is the regret for their actions or inactions that keep playing in their head over and over. And sometimes the need to fix what they didn't do or did is the driving force for wanting to get back together. This is one reason why I advise my clients trying to attract back a fearful avoidant not to use triggering memories as a central part of their strategy to attract back their ex. You might think that you are trying to trigger a good memory, but that memory also triggers guilt and regret, and reinforces a fearful avoidant's negative self-view. You may have noticed chatting with your fearful avoidant ex, you are having a perfectly normal, good conversation, then in the middle of the conversation they become cold and sometimes even angry and mean. This often has very little to do with the conversation, but with the fearful avoidant triggered by a past memory. It is best to avoid memories until you've had better experiences to offset any guilt or regret that a fearful avoidant might have. So how do you approach a fearful avoidant who feels that the breakup was necessary but regrets the things that happened in the relationship? Number 1. First, determine if your fearful avoidant is indeed feeling guilty or has regrets about some of the things that happened in the relationship, during the breakup, or after the breakup. Look at the things that they have said. Does anything they said suggest that they regret their actions or inactions? You can also watch my video on the strong signs that an avoidant regrets the breakup. Once you've figured out what a fearful avoidant's regrets are, include them in your overall strategy to attract back a fearful avoidant. Number 2. If you sense that your fearful avoidant ex feels bad about some things they said or did during the relationship or breakup, or even actually feels bad for breaking up with you, don't push them to talk about it. The harder you push, the worse they feel. And the worse they feel, the less likely they are to want to try the relationship again. If it happens in the middle of a conversation, tell them that you sense that something is wrong, and if they want to talk about it, you'll hear them out. If they don't want to talk about it, don't push, because your anxiety is telling you you need to fix what is wrong. Instead, take note of what triggered the memory and make sure that you avoid those topics in the future. The takeaway from this is a fearful avoidant having regrets about the breakup is not necessarily a bad thing if it motivates them to want to get back together. Make sure that you work on the behaviors and maybe communication style that may have contributed to a fearful avoidant feeling unappreciated or not good enough. At the end of the day, a fearful avoidant might regret the breakup and might want even to get back together. But if nothing has changed, they're not coming back.